We're now off to film a short workshop on hand applique. This happens to be one of my personal favourites, but it does fill a lot of people with dread. But we have a real expert to show you just how easy it can be.
Hi, Dawn Cameron Dick here at Festival of Quilts 2011, and we're going to be talking about applique today, but not the applique that you generally know me for. My name is almost always associated with my invisible machine applique, but you know what? I love hand applique, and I'm doing more and more of it today. And I'd like to show you how I hand applique and some simple tips that might help you do your applique a little bit easier and have a lot more fun doing it. Standard applique generally requires that you put your pieces in specific positions on your background fabric, but I found in doing reverse applique, I can do all my preparation first, my pieces never move around, and it's very, very portable. So the piece I'm going to be showing you today is a new one I'm working on. It's my chrysanthemum quilt, and actually I saw the design on an ironing board cover. I can't draw, I'm hopeless at trying to make things look real, but my ironing board cover looked very pretty, so I traced it. I traced this design onto my freezer paper. I cut out the spaces that I wanted my fabric to show through, and then I ironed it on the surface. Once I had ironed it on the surface, I was able then to mark all the lines for my applique with a pencil. Of course, checking first that the pencil can be removed when you wash it. I will stitch up against those lines, and my pattern was on the background. Now, I've chosen a very soft green, that's the background of my quilt, but the applique itself was going to be a much bolder, much brighter orange print. So I put that behind the green. So the green on top with my pencil marks and the dark color behind it. I then tacked it very carefully by hand between the areas I was going to be appliquing. When I applique, I like to use a milliner's needle. Now, milliner's needles are just what they sound like. They're the kind of needles that you use when you are making hats. They're long, they're thin, they're fine, and they're wonderful for doing needle turn. In my needle, I like to use a cotton thread, but not just any cotton thread. I like a 60 weight. Now, if you remember your weights in thread, the bigger the number, the finer the thread. So a 60 weight thread is so fine that even if my stitches aren't perfect on the surface, the thread sinks into my fabric and you don't see them. There are two companies well known for their 60 weight thread, and that's Mettler and YLI. I love the Mettler threads because they come in 197 delicious colors, something for all of my applique. Now I've got a soft green in my needle. I've made a little knot on the end, and when I'm ready to do one of my petals, I take a lovely pair of sharp scissors. You want scissors that cut nicely to the point. I go within the inside of my pencil line, and with a very, very small seam allowance, I cut out the very, very center of that shape. I want to leave enough in my seam allowances that there's something to turn under, but not so much that it's going to make a lumpy, bumpy edge. So this piece gets thrown away, and you can see that with a scant, maybe 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, a little bit smaller than a quarter, I'm able to have just enough to turn under. In straight areas, any curve that goes on an outside curve, I don't clip because that makes for ragged edges. When I'm doing an inside curve, I will make small snips into that so the fabric can turn under the edge and sew down just flat. So I've begun stitching here already. You can probably see that there are a few clips in the fabric. I'm going to take the side of my needle, holding my finger in place, and using that long, sharp needle to turn the edge under my pencil mark and smooth it down gently. Once it's been smoothed down and my pencil mark has turned underneath, then I do the magic thumb press. The magic thumb press isn't electric or battery operated, it's just body heat that will hold that edge down well enough. Now I can slip a hand under, pick up my work, and do my tiny little applique stitch along the edge. The important part is when you have stitched to give it a little tug. That little tug makes sure that your fabric doesn't roll out and looks nice and flat. Now this is extremely portable. All my pieces stay in place, and I can take this with traveling, I can take it with sitting in the doctor's office waiting for an appointment, and I know that everything I need is in one place. Simple needle turn applique. I hope you'll give needle turn applique a try. Please get in touch if you'd like any more information about it. If you are an applique person, I suggest you try that 60 weight thread. It will make a huge difference in your applique. And if you've never tried appliquing, this is an excellent shape to start with. Thank you very much for stopping in today and for having a look at what I was doing at Festival. Those of you who couldn't come next year. Those of you who were there, might be time to soak your feet in a hot bath of water. Thank you. Bye-bye.